Yo, what's going on, yo? What's going on? Welcome back to the video. Welcome back to the YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. All three of them things. And I want to discuss a little bit of UFC. So this weekend we have the return of John Jones. It's been 3 years. 3 years. Since we've had John Jones in the octagon, and he's fighting Cyril Gane, right? Cyril Gane is a very, very, very dynamic heavyweight striker. John Jones is fighting division. He's never fought him before as a division. He's been teasing to fight in for at least 10 years. I saw an interview with him next to Dana White, and he had just a hilarious quote, which is he had just got a nutritionist. He's like, "I'm starting to take this thing serious." It's in 2013, which is hilarious because he's been very unserious about competing in the sport of MMA for those since then, the last 10 years. But I want to talk about the aftermath and what happens next if either of them win. So to me, there was a dog horse at the top of the division. It's not Francis Ngannou, and it's not White Ngannou. What's his name? Pavlovich. It's not him because I don't think he is. I think he's a worthy opponent, but I don't think he's that guy. Um, for the likes of John Jones, I really don't. I don't see that. It's the same kind of deal as Cyril Gane, even though I think Cyril Gane is a lot more dynamic. But I don't want to talk about my predictions on the fight because I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. Cyril Gane is unlike anybody John Jones has ever fought in any size or any weight class. I saw a tweet from Jones talking about Santos and how Thiago Santos would throw with a lot of violence and a lot of viciousness, and I do understand that AD did, but Tia Thiago Santos. Santos fought at 185. Let me actually I had a little running theory. John Jones has fought a lot of 185ers in his career. And this is not me about to go on a rant. But he's a huge light heavyweight. He has the longest reach in UFC history. He's already 6'4", and he has the longest reach UFC history. So to me, him putting on his weight, it's not like DC putting on weight. Even though DC put on the wrong type of weight, it's not the same because DC is much, much shorter. Cormier looks like 5'9". He looks 5'9", 5'10". I saw a picture of him next to Max Holloway, and Max Holloway was obviously taller. But John Jones, besides a couple of guys, Gustafson, who's a big guy like him, they had one competitive match. The other one wasn't very competitive. Besides that, he's fought a lot of 185ers. Lyoto Machida, um, Vito Belfort, Chael Sonnen. Like I said, Daniel Cormier has never been a 185er, but he's the same height as Muslim. There's a lot of 185ers. Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos. These are guys that all fought at 185. Cyril Gane will never fight at 185. Cyril Gane walks out around like 240, 250. He's a big ass dude, and he's about the same size as John Jones. And the myth that John Jones was going to fight bigger guys is a little wild because when we see them face off, we're gonna see them be the same size. We're gonna see John Jones might even be taller than Cyril Gane. He pulled one of the biggest wolves of everybody's eyes with this. But again, I want to talk about the aftermath because the dark horse of the division is Curtis Blades, right? Cyril Gane, verbally, we got audio, we got print of him ducking Curtis Blades. He did want to fight Curtis Blades. It is an obvious mismatch. The aggression, the takedowns of Curtis Blades, he obviously didn't want to go against it. And to be honest, I didn't want to see that shit because we're gonna see somebody going for a takedown the whole fight and probably getting it and probably throwing down some vicious, vicious, vicious elbows. And then Francis Ngannou, even though Francis Ngannou was not putting down single legs, he wasn't doing double legs, he wasn't doing technical takedowns. He was grabbing Cyril Gane like goddamn British Bulldog, like goddamn Batista, and slamming him into the octagon. To me, these are totally different types of takedowns. So, in analyzing the fight, obviously the obvious thing is takedowns versus standing on the feet versus striking. If he can get Jones can get him down, it's over, etc. But what happens after? Now, Curtis Blades has a fight coming up, but he wouldn't have a fight coming up. He would have a fight with Cyril Gane. If his next fight was booked, Cyril Gane accepted, it would be against Cyril Gane. John Jones won't fight Curtis Blades. It, it, it's very he will not. We will never see John Jones versus Curtis Blades. We will probably see one of them versus Stipe Miocic, which again, I went down the middleweights. John is fought. Stipe Miocic is not a middleweight. It's not a light heavyweight. He is a heavyweight, but he's a 40-year-old guy, and he came in last fight. He was a little bigger for Ngannou. No, he was like 236. He came in light. He's coming in 230. John Jones is 250, and he's big. He's already bigger. Uh, he didn't have to gain weight to be bigger than Stipe Miocic. So what happens next? Does John Jones pull a GSP? Does he get one and dip? At the end of the day, he has 8 fights left on his contract. 8 fights. He's not getting through those 8 fights. So what we see out of John Jones, everything we'll see combat wise, which is very unfortunate. I would love to see John Jones in another promotion, take it over another promotion, taking all belts in every promotion, or either just compete in every promotion. But that won't happen because it's 8 fights on this goddamn deal. But what happens next? Will we see one of these dudes against White Ngannou, Pavlovich? Will we see one of these dudes against Curtis Blade? What happens next? Who do they fight next? Because the X's and O's of this is pretty much set out. It's pretty boring. Against Cyril Gane is 1-1 in his last fight. And John Jones hasn't fought in 3 years. And he's in a new division. And he's already fighting for an undisputed title. So this is not Yair. This is not even Yair and Josh Emmett. Two guys who these are the 2 guys to fight for the interim. Even though with Yair, he's 1-1 in his last, well, he's 2-1 now, but he just lost to Max. And Max has to takes 2 steps back because he lost to Volkanovski 3 times. But let's not get into that. What happens next between Curtis Blades and John Jones? Not Curtis Blades, I'm sorry. Cyril Gane and John Jones. Will Curtis Blades finally get his spot? Would he get a shot at a title? I think he's a very worthy opponent. I think that him fighting any top number 1 contender guy that is not Francis Ngannou, I think it goes his way. I know he fought Derek Lewis. I know Derek Lewis got the hands of Jesus. And if he touch you, you might levitate. But besides that, I don't think John Jones has that power. I know Cyril Gane has that swiftness, but again, Cyril Gane ducked the fight with Curtis Blades. So, what do y'all think happens in this fight with Jones and Cyril Gane? My money, just without the X's and O's, is on Jones, because how can you go against John Jones? It's like the Eagles. The Eagles just went 15-1. If you look at the whole season, they went like 18-2 between the playoffs and them losing one time in the regular season and a Super Bowl. If you bet every single bet on the Eagles at 18-2, obviously it's different odds, you would be up because they went 18-2. John Jones is undefeated. If you got money, it should go on Jones. But what happens next? Does Jones pull a GSP and just retire? He sat for the last 3 years. He fought 1 time and sat for another 2. So obviously fighting, he don't give a shit about. Does he take his $8 million payday and just dip? Give up the belt again? Does he fight Stipe? Does he fight Curtis Blades? What does Cyril Gane do? Again, he's 1-1 in his last 2. Does he fight Stipe, which I think is a fantastic fight? He already said he wasn't going to fight Curtis Blades. What happens next? Let me know in the comments. I'll let you.